Amen. You guys can go ahead and take a seat, and we'll send the kids back to Passion Kids with Miss Sam. For those of you I haven't met, my name is TJ, and I'm the pastor here at Passion Church. We're excited to have you here with us this morning. We're a brand new church here. Well, we're 2 years old, so in Palm Springs terms, we're a brand new church here in Palm Springs, but we're a new kind or a different kind of church that really has a heart for reaching our city and helping to see what God can do to transform the lives of the people who live here. And as you know, there's all kinds of different events and things that are going on in Palm Springs and across the valley, especially on a weekend like this. There's so many different opportunities that we have to connect and get to know people who live here in our city. But I'll be honest, I don't enjoy walking into a room full of people that I don't know. Walking into a room, a new space for me it causes anxiety in those new spaces. But honestly, it can be even a room full of people that I do know. And sometimes walking in is still an overwhelming thing. I mean, that level of social energy that we have to carry, that the fear of creating small talk and first impressions and expectations that people have. And I don't know about you, but I always walk in and I scan the room. And I like to just stand by the door for a second, scan the room, take it all in, and then figure out, okay, where am I gonna sit? Who do I need to talk to? Do I recognize anyone? Because then I can go and they can be kind of my safe space. And who do I need to talk to? What do I need to accomplish while I'm here? What's the easiest place to land? And again, I don't know about you, but I tend to drift towards the edges. I like to sit or stand on the outside before I work my way in, if I ever want to make my way in. And definitely staying near someone new, someone familiar over someone new is again, that kind of safe space. I like to observe before I engage. And part of it is just that internal experience that you can have walking into a new space. It's exhausting to connect and meet new people, and you have to be on, right? You can't just walk in and coast. When you walk into that new space, you're on, because people are looking, people are thinking, there's conversations you have to have, you're reading the room, you're figuring it out. There's just a lot of energy that gets expended there. And my guess is that I'm not the only one. From the conversations I have and just getting to know people over the years doing church stuff, it's something that we have in common. And some people feel this when they walk into a new space. And some of us feel it, like I said, even when you walk into a familiar place. And most of the people there are familiar. Hey, Thea, can you grab my clicker for me? When you walk into a space that's new, it can be overwhelming. And I get that walking into church or walking into a space like this can be that space that can be overwhelming, that can be new, that can cause anxiety. So I just want to applaud you for walking through the doors this morning. Whether it was your first time or you're newer or you've been here for a couple of years. I mean, just showing up is a big step. And so I want to applaud you for that and thank you for that. I mean, it's honoring that you would come and make this that place that you walk into, even if it's new to you. Because at some point, it was new for all of us. In fact, one of the things that can stress us out is this assumption that we have that everyone already knows each other, right? When you walk into a new space, you automatically think that everybody here already knows everyone else, and I'm the only new person. And you feel like you're stepping into a room full of relationships that are already formed, and it's already full of connection and community, and then I'm walking in as the outsider, right? And so people assume that about Passion Church. So I kind of wanted to put that to the test for a minute and just show you what I see from up here as I look out. So just question for you. I'm not gonna make anyone speak or anything like that. It's just, simple. How many are new in 2026? Like your first time coming to Passion Church was this year? All right, yeah, so some hands up. How many, keep those hands up. Since October, or since summer, how many new people have come in the last, 7 or 8 months? Yeah, about the last year. In the last year was your first time. Go ahead and keep your hands up. Everyone that's been here for the first time since the last year. Look at that. It's like most people. All right, the last 2 years? Yeah, that's like everyone except for like a handful of us because we've only been at church for 2 years. And there's like 4 or 5 of us that were here before we were open as a church. But I'd say out of the people that have been here over the last month looking out, 25% of the people are new over the last few months. I'd say almost half are new since October. And it goes way up if you start talking to the last year. You're not walking into a place where everybody knows, we're still new. And it's kind of cool about being the new church in town because we're still getting to know each other and figure out who we are. And most of the people here are newer than you would think. Another thing that pops into our mind as we're walking into a new space like this is, I don't know if I fit here. Because you walk in and maybe you feel out of place. And you're trying to figure out, are there people like me here? Easy answer is no. There's no one like you here because we're all unique and we're all walking through our own stuff and bringing our own baggage and all of that. But yes, there are people like you in a sense because, well, as we're going to talk about this morning, it's a bunch of people trying to figure it out who are here together and just taking those first steps. And we all feel like, oh, I don't know if I fit in. I mean, this is a church and it's people who know each other and it's community. It's all religious. But none of us would fit in if we had to live up to the standard that we create in our own minds. Another thought here is, I want connection, but I don't want pressure. I want someone to say hi to me and I might want to have a conversation, but I don't want to be forced into a conversation. And I don't want a fake conversation just because they're supposed to have a conversation with me, right? And I don't want to be put on the spot. And I want to be able to engage at my own speed. And I want it to be easy and natural. And again, we're all thinking that. We're all feeling that. But this is one of those barriers that can come up. Another one is I've tried church before. I went to church before. And maybe I didn't find the community or the connections that I thought. Or maybe they weren't as real as I had hoped. I didn't feel like they actually knew the real me. Like I couldn't be me there. Or maybe they didn't hear or see who I am. Or maybe there was some hurt, something that happened there. Another barrier is if I take a step, what does that mean? Like, am I signing up for something if I stay for lunch afterwards today? I just want a sandwich, but are they gonna think that I have to sign something and now I'm a member of the church and I have to help set up chairs and stuff every week? Like what's involved here? What happens if I lean in? Am I locked in now? Right, we have this fear of what's the expectation now? And I don't think I put it up there, but another one I had was, I don't know how this works. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, right? Is it okay to stay for lunch? Or am I supposed to leave because I'm new? Or am I supposed to leave because I'm not new? Or, right, you're not sure what's expected. Everyone was clapping the same in that song, and I don't know when to clap. I don't know what's going on. And then I started clapping and everyone else stopped. Those things happen, right? And I don't know when I'm supposed to stand or sit or there's rules and everybody knows, but no, right? We have these thoughts that go through our mind and these barriers that can help us to feel like we're not sure if we belong. We're not sure if there's a place for us. And we start to, maybe that barrier keeps us from even showing up. But you guys showed up. But maybe that barrier keeps us from really connecting or getting involved or coming back because we're processing the whole thing through when we're here for the first time, the second time, the third time. You can be here a dozen or 24 times, and we're still trying to figure out all of these things. So the question I want to jump into today and talk about is something I struggle with when I go to a new place. And honestly, sometimes I struggle with even here, even though I'm the pastor. How do I know if I belong here? How do I know if I'm welcome? How do I know if I'm going to be accepted? How do I know if I'm going to be seen and heard? How do I know if I can be the real me in this place and still feel like I can connect? So I want to kind of talk about that this morning and share some of my thoughts. And to do that, I want to grab onto something that Jesus said in Luke chapter 14, because most of the things that Jesus said, they're not theoretical and philosophical and theology and doctrine. They're real down to earth and practical. Most of the things Jesus talked about were about real life, the things that we're talking about, like that we're talking about this morning. So I want to show you a story he told actually in Luke chapter 14. If you have your Bible, go ahead and turn there. There's Bibles on both of these tables on the side. If you want to grab a Bible, you can read along if you want. And you can even keep that because we want you to have a Bible if you don't have one. Or you can scan the QR code and it will take you to the church app. And if you click on today's message notes, it'll take you to our notes, and you can follow along there, and it has all the verses and even a space there if there's something helpful, if you want to write down something that you can go back to and look at later. But as we go into Luke chapter 14, Luke is telling the story of the life of Jesus. And Jesus spends a lot of time with people. And Jesus walked into new spaces all the time. It was being in the ministry. That's what he had to do. He had to go meet new people and connect with new people. And as he sits down for dinner here in Luke chapter 14, he's actually got his group of friends with him, his closest followers. So he has kind of his safe zone with them. But they're walking into a new place. A stranger has invited Jesus to dinner. And this stranger is a religious leader. He's actually a Pharisee, which is a Jewish religious leader. And these are the religious leaders who thought they were better than everyone else. They called themselves the Pharisees, which means the separated ones, because they're holier and higher and better than everyone else. And so these are like the religious elite. And they've kind of created this system where everyone sees that they're the most spiritual, holy people you'll ever meet in your life. This guy invites Jesus to dinner. And as Jesus comes in with his friends, he notices that this room is full of these Pharisees and all these people who know each other. And as they come in, this is a room full of people who have prestige and influence. These are all the important people. And as they come in, they're sitting in the right groups. Like they automatically know who's who and like who gets to sit at the head table and who's over here. And they're watching to see who's talking to who and who's making what connections. It's just a socially charged room. And they're all there to kind of network and get to know the highest people and move up the ladder if they can. And Jesus starts challenging that. He says, hey, when you walk into a room, instead of heading for the head table and hoping that you'll have a seat there, just come in and sit with everyone else. And if you get invited to the head table, that's awesome. That's great. That's an honor. But imagine if you walked in and you sat at the head table because you think you're one of the most important people there, and they actually ask you to move because Jim gets to sit there and you have to go sit down. That's embarrassing. So just walk in and take a normal seat and just connect. Don't be there to promote yourself. In fact, Jesus says, hey, when you throw a dinner, don't just invite all these important, influential people that make an impact in the community. Invite some people who are looking for community and who need to be invited in. Even invite some people who need some food and just invite them in and then mix it all up and let people get to know each other. And he's challenging the way they're thinking. And the Pharisees don't really like that. In fact, there's this guy over in the back and he yells out, blessed are those who will eat at the head table with God in heaven. Because, those are the real important people. The people that God is going to have at the important table when we all get to heaven. And this guy's saying, those are the people I want to hang out with. And Jesus, as he tells this story, the point is kind of like, yeah, you think you know who's going to be at that head table with God, don't you? But you're going to be so surprised. It's not going to be the people you think. It's going to be the most unexpected people who are honored in the kingdom of heaven. And he tells this story that you're not going to find who you expect. You're going to find people that are unexpected. So here's how he starts this story. He's going to tell a story about a guy throwing a party. And the guy throwing the party symbolizes God in this story, okay? So keep that in mind. Here we go. And Jesus says, a man invited many to join him in a great feast. When the day for the feast arrived, the host instructed his servants to notify all the invited guests. Okay, invitations go out. And he invites all these people to this big old feast. Then he gets everything ready. The tables are set, the chairs are ready, the food is on the table. It's time for the feast. So he tells his servant, go get all the people that were invited and bring them in. And tell them, come, because everything is now ready for you. Okay, so just to pause and think about the way God works here. God has everything all set. The table is there, the food is there, the chairs are there. And he says, all right, you have a place, come sit at the table. You see, before anyone earned it, they didn't have to show up and act important and influential. They didn't have to network and work their way in. God just says, hey, all of you, there's a place for you. God has a place for everyone. He's already making space. He goes on and says, but one by one, all of the people who were invited made excuses. You ever had this happen? Like you plan a big old Christmas party, and at the last minute, everyone starts canceling on you, and you're kind of just hoping somebody would show up. Well, that's what happens to this guy. He's throwing a feast. Everyone starts making all these excuses, and the excuses, honestly, they're kind of lame. Watch this. One said, I can't come to your party tonight because I just bought some property, and I have to go and look it over. I just bought a new house out in like Bermuda Dunes. Sorry, I can't come to your Christmas party. I got to go check out the new house. Wait, can't you do that? Didn't you know about it doesn't make any sense. Another said, please accept my regrets because I just purchased 5 teams of oxen and I need to make sure they can pull the plow. I just bought 20 oxen to help plow my field, but I need to make sure they're like strong enough to pull the plow. Well, you inspected them before you bought them. That's the way it works. Like they're oxen, right? This guy's just making excuses. This is the worst one. Watch this. Another one said, I can't come. I just got married. You know you could bring your wife, right? Like, what is happening here? They're just making all these excuses. They're hesitating, they're holding back, they're not stepping in. But guys, isn't that what we do sometimes? We have an opportunity to go do something and show up for something, and all of a sudden that anxiety kicks in, and we start making excuses, and then we tell someone something that's not true, so we don't have to go, and maybe we're going to church and all these things, like there's all these reasons we can't go to, like, hey, whatever it is, right? Sometimes the problem isn't with the invitation. Sometimes the barrier is what we tell ourselves. I'm too tired. I don't feel like it. I know I said I'd be there, but I'm sure they'll understand. I don't fit in anyway. I don't know what will happen. I'll just wait until next time. There'll be plenty of people there anyway. And we come up with these excuses, right? But remember, we're talking about God here in this story. It's still what we do with God, with our faith. We start coming up with all these reasons like, I'll take care of it later, right? Well, I love what God is going to do next in this story. Because if you look back there at verse 17, he originally invited all the invited guests. Now think about it from a church perspective, if you would. These are the people that you would expect to be there. The people that you assume belong in church. You know, the religious people. The people who dress nice on Sunday morning. The moral. The people who have it all together. The people who know how church works, the people who believe everything and can tell you all the Bible verses. Those are the people you would expect to be at church. And if you're walking into a church for the first time, even when you walk in and you look around, you assume that that's what all these people are. These are the people who have it all figured out. They've got it all together. They know all this stuff. They believe this stuff. They know when to clap and when to stop clapping. Like they know all the things. But those are the people in the story that made the excuses and didn't show up. The people you would expect to be there aren't there. So what does the host do? The servant reported back to the host and told him of all their excuses. The master became angry. What do you mean they're not coming? Those are the worst excuses I've ever heard. So he said to his servant, go at once throughout the city and invite anyone you find. The poor, the blind, the disabled, the hurting, the lonely. Invite all of them to my banquet. And they're the ones who show up. It's not the people you would expect to be there. It's the unexpected. I love what the host does here. Remember, this is God. People don't show up. Well, that's fine. I'm canceling the party. Nope, he says, get more tables, get more chairs, and go get everybody who's willing to show up. He doesn't shrink the table. He widens the offer. And he invites in the unexpected. The people who would never belong in a palace with a rich guy at his party eating all this fancy food. Like, they're not the ones you would walk in and find there ever. He's like, bring them all in. Those are the ones I want. And if we're being honest, those are the people who make up Passion Church. Right? If you get to know the people here at Passion Church, most of the people here are obviously people that are new to Passion Church, but most of the people here are new to church. Or they're people who are coming back after a time away. They had faith, maybe they grew up in church, but then something happened, maybe they got hurt or they stopped believing or whatever, and they just walked away. There's people at Passion Church who are still trying to figure out, what do I believe? I'm not even sure at this point. These are people who aren't sure if they fit in with the church culture. And honestly, we probably don't fit in with the church culture at most churches. We're just a little different around here. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't have it all figured out. They don't have their lives all cleaned up. Passion Church is filled, I love it, just filled with people who are thinking about taking their next step. People who are trying to get it all figured out. People who are saying, all right, I know it's just one step at a time. And I love that, because notice what's happening in this story. These people that are invited, the people that get to come in and enjoy, they're not the ones who can check off every box and say, I belong here. They're the people that say, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know if I have a place here. I don't know if I belong here. And it's just a room full of them. And I love that. Because if you're here this morning and you're not sure if you fit in with God, or you fit in with faith, or you fit in with church, or you fit in with a community of people in any way, then you're specifically who this invitation is for. You don't have to have it all figured out to have a place with God, or to have a place in faith, or to have a place at church. And you don't have to know if you believe everything they talk about at that Passion Church in order to feel like you belong. Just one step. We're all just figuring it out together. Watch what happens here in this story. When the servant returned to his master, he said, Sir, I have done what you asked, but there's still room for more. He says, all right, I brought everybody in. They're all here, and they love it, by the way. The party's amazing. But there's a ton of tables and seats left. What do you want me to do? And I love that. Because there's always more space, right? This is what God is saying. Yeah, there's already people there. There's already people showing up. But there's always more space. So the master told him, all right, go out again. And this time bring them all back with you. Make sure every single person shows up for this party. The invitation just keeps going. And it gets personal. Like, go and talk to every single person and make sure they show up. And maybe I'm reading into it, but I think that word all means all. It doesn't matter who they are, what they've done, what they did last night. It doesn't matter what they believe, what they think. Bring them all. I think all means all in the sense that it doesn't even matter if they were one of those original guests who gave me the lamest excuses on earth and totally offended me by not coming to my party. All means all. Go get them too. It doesn't matter if they thought they were too good for us to begin with. It doesn't matter if they don't like the crowd that's there now. Bring them in too. Get everyone in one room. It doesn't matter what their political party is. It doesn't matter what they think about this issue or that topic, or it doesn't matter like if they're this or if they're that, or if they don't like this or they don't like that, just bring them all. Because when we all get together in one space and we realize that none of us deserve to be here anyway, we're all a little awkward and strange, none of us feel like we belong, and we all disagree with each other on so many different things, that's community. That's life. That's powerful. And that's what God is doing here. He's not saying this is a closed circle. He's not saying, okay, only this group of people and none of those and none of those. He says, open the door wide, put out more tables, put out more chairs, and get every single one of them in this room together. Can you imagine that rich guy that made the excuses sitting at the same table as an unhoused person, having a conversation, getting to know each other, and making an impact in each other's lives and listening to their stories together? Can you imagine that religious leader, the Pharisee, the separated, the one who's better than everyone else, sitting at the same table as the worst sinner you could possibly imagine? And they're like having slices of pizza together and just getting to know each other and watching that connection. Now that's community. That's the supernatural work of God to bring people together like that. And I love it because that's what God has been doing here over the last couple of years. People from every walk of life, people who disagree, people who have a history with faith, and people who don't. Like it's amazing. So if you're here this morning, the question isn't, one more verse here. He says, persuade the beggars on the streets, the outcasts, even the homeless. Insist that they come in and enjoy the feast so that my house will be full. He wants it full. He wants it overflowing. And knowing God, if it gets full, he's going to blow out the wall and make more room for more people, right? He wants everyone there. So if you're here this morning and you're wondering, am I invited? Yeah. Do I belong? Yes. The question is not, am I invited? The question is not, do I belong? The question is, will I step in? The question isn't, is there a place for me? Is there a place for you? The question is, will you sit down and take your place where there is space for you? So if you're wondering, I don't know if I fit in, I don't know if I belong, I don't know if I'm welcome, Jesus would say yes to all of that because he is the one who makes space. In fact, he has a place waiting for you in a relationship with God, in discovering what your faith looks like, and at a church like Passion Church. So here's the main point, the bottom line. You are still welcome because you have a place here. You're still welcome no matter what your story is. You are always welcome. Always welcome with God. Always welcome to experience your faith, and always welcome at Passion Church. So then the question is, what are you going to do with it? What step are you going to take to step into that place that has been made and saved and reserved for you? Two thoughts. Number one, I want to invite you this morning to say yes to Jesus. Because for some of you, it's not even about finding a place in this room. It's not finding a place in church or in community with people. For some of you, it's stepping into a relationship with God and trusting in Jesus. Because when we say, yes, I believe that Jesus is who he says he is, at that moment, God forgives everything you've ever done wrong. And he sets you free and says, you have a place here and you're welcome. I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you've been. I don't care. I just come on in. And there's freedom in that because then you walk in and you don't have to earn it. You don't have to feel like you have to deserve it. You don't have to work to fit in. It's your place in a relationship with God. And you have freedom in that. And then he gives you hope and peace and love. This isn't just an invitation to a building or a group of people or a picnic lunch. This is an invitation to a relationship with the God who loves you more than you could possibly imagine. And if you want to know more about what that would look like for you, to say yes to Jesus, we'd love to meet you during any of our songs or when we're done here over here at the yes table and just answer your questions, pray for you, whatever it is that we can come alongside and support you as you're figuring out what it would look like for you to have a relationship with the God who loves you that much. And then second, for some of you, you've already said yes to Jesus, or you're maybe not even sure about that, but I want to invite you to say yes to taking your place. It's more about connecting with people and getting involved and opening up and not staying on the outside, but saying, yeah, I'm gonna take a step and even have a conversation with someone today and just get to know someone or share a little bit, because it's so safe if you're like me to observe and stay on the edge and not step in. But I wanna invite you to just take a baby step today towards getting involved with a group of people who are walking the same journey and trying to figure it all out, just like all of us are. So basically, it's move from watching to stepping in. And we're gonna make this really easy for you today, because when we're done, we're not rushing out of here today. We wanna invite you to stay and have lunch with us. There's food. There's tables set out with chairs. There's plenty of chairs, plenty of food, just a space for you to come in. And there's no expectations, to go back to one of those early objections. You stay for lunch doesn't mean you're a member of the church and you have to come set up chairs next week. You don't have to sign anything. You don't have to commit or, give a blood sample. Like none of that, right? It's just go sit down, enjoy a sandwich and some lemonade, and just hang out and see what God does. But it's just that baby step to move in and say, I'm ready to see what God has for me. If you've been wondering if you have a place here, you do. If you've been wondering if someone like you could fit in, yeah, absolutely. Because you're still welcome, no matter your story. You're always welcome. Because there's a place for you here. Because there's a place for me in my relationship with God, despite who I am and what I've done and where I've been, and God's amazing love has welcomed me in. He can do it for each one of us. And he can change our story, not to change who we are, but to make us the best version of ourselves. That's God's vision for you. Will you stand so I can pray for us? Lord, I pray that your love is obvious to our hearts today. Because just as the guy in the story went out and invited everybody in, people who'd made wrong choices and bad decisions, and people who didn't have it all figured out and didn't know where they stood or what they believed, and people who all disagreed with each other and maybe even had conflicts and fights and past hurts with each other, he wanted them all in one room, at one party, enjoying life together. Father, I've seen it this week. Help us to see it this morning, that this is your heart, that you want to bring us all in, not because you expect much of us, but because you have so much for us. Father, help each one of us today to realize that we're loved more than we could begin to imagine, and that you've been saving a space for us in our relationship with you. And that this exploration and experience of faith, this journey that we're on, God, you're walking it with us. Father, if any of my friends or any of our guests here today need to say yes to you and just step into that relationship, Father, I pray that they would have the courage to seek you out. And even right now, say yes and know that they're accepted and forgiven and just loved by you so much. Father, for every single one of us, help us to figure out what our next step is. Say yes to stepping into life together and opening ourselves up and stepping in and just letting other people in and creating that sense of community that we all need in our lives. Lord, maybe that small step is just staying for lunch today. Father, it's so simple to think that it's just a sandwich and a chair at a table. But what you can do through that simple step is absolutely profound. And you can bring us together with a sense of community and unity and connection here at Passion Church. Father, I pray that you would work that in our hearts. Help us each to find our place here, to know that we belong no matter what our story is, because of your love, because of Jesus. And Father, that is amazing, wonderful news that you invite us all in and connect us together. Father, we praise you. We thank you for your love. In Jesus' name, amen.